Dorian. Hello YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this weather presentation for August 28th, 2019. And the Weather Dude shirt on for today. And today's video is going to be about an update on what is now Hurricane Dorian. Please stay tuned for the whole video. Please consider subscribing as well as sharing the video. Never miss one of my videos again by ringing the bell notifications, and look in the description for other videos of mine with superior weather content they won't find anywhere else. And again, as a reminder, I don't know if I've been showing you this lately, so again, some of my latest videos. Volcanic Lightning Explained video, Ocean and Beach Forecast number 4, Winter 2020 Forecast 2, that will probably come out next month. Sea Level Rise videos by city, Atlantic Hurricane Discussion number 12, 2019 Fall Forecast number 1 video, and Hypothetical 2025 Atlantic Hurricane Season animation video. So basically, just going to be just a prediction based off of our educated guesses of like what the hurricane season could be like. It's not, it probably won't be right at all. Just to give you an idea of what could happen in hurricane season in the near future. So let's get started. We're going to talk about what is now Hurricane Dorian here, and you can see it is like giving or producing hurricane conditions in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Here it is on the National Hurricane Center. Winds at 75 miles an hour. I will be busy in a little bit, so this is what I'll do. I will leave a comment. So this is the 2 o'clock p.m. update. The 5 p.m. update comes out in about a half hour. And if you're watching this, it might come out right now by the time you people watch this. But I'll leave a link to all the storm analytics and analytics in the comments section for the 5 p.m. update, so you guys get an idea of what the 5 p.m. update is, because by the time I get done this video, it'll be just short. So I'll leave a comment of the 5 p.m. update of the storm in the comment section, and maybe even 8 p.m. update as well. So here it is, forecast to go on a northwest track, and why I'll show you on later in the video. Then kind of turn towards the west, becoming a major hurricane with potentially 115 mile-an-hour winds, Category 3, by the time it can make landfall in eastern Florida. If you got family like down Florida, like myself, or even family and friends, please just give them a heads up notice. Okay, this cone goes out 5 days, so this is only a few days away from affecting the southeast. Now, it could very well go here in the Gulf of Mexico. It could go dead straight into Florida. It could go up the Carolina coast. We don't know, but we are certain of what the track is going to be like up until approaching Florida. Like, we know this track right here. We know this. This is pretty much certain, and I'll tell you why later on in the video as well. Moving northwest at 13 miles an hour, and central pressure of 997 millibars. That is pretty darn strong. And you might be looking at the tropical storm force wind probabilities and thinking, well, why is this little batch up here? Well, this is tropical storm Aaron, which is probably now tropical depression Aaron. Didn't even last that long, just a little nuisance storm. And that's going to race off up the East Coast, producing some rain in New England today. But other than that, it's a nuisance. I mean, what I thought was going to happen was 98L so this would be Dorian, and maybe this would become Aaron, but it kind of happened the other way around. 99L became Dorian and developed really fast, while 98L took longer to develop and became Aaron. So hurricanes wind speed probabilities have gone up. We do see, because you can see we're in the orange section now, which means 40 to 50% chance of hurricane force winds. Even Florida has a chance. And keep in mind, the tropical storm force winds, the chances for that all go all the way up into North Carolina and South Carolina, even Alabama and Georgia, as well as Florida, of course. All right. Let's go to our next tab here. So this is our current storms tab on Chocolate Tidbits. Thank you, Levi Cowan. Don't worry about the satellite. I will be showing you that just a little bit. Again, winds 65 knots, which is 75, and gusting to about 90 miles an hour. There was a wind gust. I mean, when this was a tropical storm earlier today, winds of 70 miles an hour. Around the 11 o'clock update, there was a wind gust in St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands of 93 miles per hour, and it wasn't even a hurricane yet. And that was pretty much near surface, maybe about 100 to 200 feet in the air, but much higher at an observation station. There was a 111 mile per hour wind gust. So that is right on the line. That is the lowest Category 3 wind gust you could possibly have. But it wasn't a Category 3 hurricane. Now it just became a hurricane recently in the 2 o'clock update, which I was really waiting for. So here's the model track guidance. Again, they are all in agreement. Next 2 to 3 days, all the models are in agreement here. It's going to make a track like this inside that black line there, passing just north of the Bahamas. Now, where it goes after that, I mean, all heck just breaks loose here. I mean, we just don't know what's going on. And it's kind of in a cone like this. We just don't know. And this is about 4 or 5 days out, and there's uncertainty. Does the high pressure to the north weaken? Because we know about that steering I'll tell you about later. Does the high pressure weaken? Does the storm go around like this? Or does that high pressure strengthen and push it farther to the west? And there's also an upper level low, so we're really certain about the track a couple days from now, but after that, it's just really uncertain. So here's some more track guidance here, GEFS ensembles. And again, all the models here, except for like 2 outliers, take this thing in the central and southern Florida as a decent hurricane, and all of them actually have a landfall in the Gulf of Mexico, which a European model was now showing, and I'll show you that as well later on, and around the northern Gulf Coast, and then even one little model takes it through Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, New York. I mean, that could be where the remnants goes. Who knows? It's not quite sure yet, but there's a GEFS. Now, GEPS ensembles and the CMC ensembles are very different. You got some in the Gulf of Mexico, some off the southeast coast. I mean, this one's just going completely haywire. Here's the intensity guidance. Again, a lot of models taking the Category 2 and Category 3 status, which is probably what is going to be the case here. But it's already a hurricane, so if you see a model that's like down here, like I wouldn't even trust that model. Like TCLP is a pretty untrusted model here. But I can never, no matter how untrusted a model is, I can never rule it out because of the these storms can just shock everybody. I mean, so that's why you can never rule out a model. So originally, Dorian was supposed to make landfall in the eastern Hispaniola and Dominican Republic. Then the track shifted. It was forecast to make landfall on the southwest edge of Puerto Rico. I know Paul Goodlow in the Weather Channel. He was in Ponce in Puerto Rico, and Ponce is located right about there on the southwest side, not on the coast, but pretty much on the coast, on the southwest side of Puerto Rico. Then the track got shifted to where it was going to go northeast of Puerto Rico, and it's not making any land interaction with Hispaniola or Puerto Rico anymore. It's not moving over really any land. So that allowed it to strengthen into a hurricane, which it is now. I bet you if it moved over Puerto Rico, we have winds of about 65 miles an hour right now. Probably something like that. But now we have 75 miles an hour because of no land interaction. Now, as I will show you, Puerto Rico is still getting affected by those rain bands. Even the Virgin Islands, St. John, St. Croix, that's a tongue twister. Say that 10 times fast. But yeah, St. John, St. Croix, and the Virgin Islands. They're Lesser Antilles. You're done with this thing. You can get some, leftover bands, but I mean, you're done. It's all the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, and maybe even a touch of Eastern Hispaniola, but I think you're almost out of the thick of the woods. Maybe some rough surf there. So here's a GFS model, and we're going to take this forward through time here, and this time frame, as soon as this loads, is for hours. This is 8 p.m. Friday night, and here's the storm. So you can really see how, strong it's already getting. And to show you the steering patterns, we're going to go to Z5, so 500 millibars as opposed to 850. So we have this upper level low here. We have a high pressure off to the north here. And actually, that is not right. You can see where the line goes, that 591 line. That's basically your high pressure. So it's got nowhere to go besides like a track right through the middle. Right about there. Okay, my pen's getting stuck. But yeah, so calling for a track right through the middle between the low pressure and the high pressure, and that tends to happen. That is what's supposed to happen because the low has a flow like this, and the high makes a flow like that. So you pretty much got nowhere to go besides this path. And the high pressure strength could vary as well as the upper level low strength. And then the high weakens a little bit. It starts to shrink a little bit in size. So now it's only about this big, so the low can get driven up here. And now I'm going to go ahead and go to the MSLP and precipitation here. And I'm going to take this all the way through landfall. They're calling for a landfall in Georgia, surprisingly. Let's take this through time here. And there we go. So there's the remnants up in Tennessee. Then, eventually, the remnants will move through the Midwest, in the Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast, according to the current run of the GFS model. So that's what you can expect from the GFS model. Let's go to the European model now, making this thing one heck of a beast. Alright, here we go. Latest run 12Z, issued at 3 o'clock p.m. Whoops. Oh, I spoiled it. No, I spoiled it. Oh, bummer. Well, but here's the European model here. 72 hours. Again, this is 850 millibars, so you're not going to see any, steering patterns on this, just to show you the strength of the storm. So there it is. Deep reds, definitely up to hurricane strength. Then passing through South Florida, so central and northern Florida could get affected by this if it moves through South Florida like the European says. But then, look at this. Boom. It's moving into the Gulf of Mexico, where it is pretty much never unfavorable, unless there's wind shear or dry air. But the ocean's always warm. That water's always warm. Near 90, actually, as I will show you. And there it is. Boom. Probably a Category 3 or 4 landfall. And this really upsets me. This is the same spot, literally the exact same landfall spot of Hurricane Michael last year, which ended up being a Cat 5. For those of you who thought it was a Cat 4, earlier this year, an article got released at a National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service, blah, 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 saying that they actually recorded wind speeds of 160 as opposed to 155. So that makes it a Category 5, and Hurricane Michael was. And if I hate to see this same area get hit again, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, it was just a heck of a nightmare. And going through Alabama, and this is as far as it goes, 10 days. So you can see, I mean, I'm not cutting you short. Literally, you can see 240, and that's it. So that's where the storm's moving through, and it's probably, if I can read it right based on how it was moving, it's probably going to move in a direction like that, off the coast. Then it could strengthen from there. Who knows? All right, so here's the satellite imagery. This thing is developing an eye wall. You don't really see you can't really see any gray inside the eye, which is, I think, not the most organized. It's right over St. John, not St. Croix, St. John, right there. That's your center of low pressure right there. You see there's not as much convection. We do have those outflow channels. Definitely developing an eye wall. Having a little trouble with the eye, but a very healthy storm for the situation it was in. And you can see Puerto Rico now getting the brunt of it. And let's keep going here. This is the aircraft reconnaissance. This finished about 4 o'clock, 4:05 p.m. on August 28th, which is today. And you can see the aircraft reconnaissance mission number 9 there did find some purples. Definitely did find some hurricane force winds in those purples there. So that's why they officially deemed it hurricane status. There you can see there's little blow up of convections here all over the storm. And you can see, I mean, the flight, I mean, that is just finished. This is about 40 minutes after this, so it's probably, the plane's probably going back there, probably diving back to this way by now, going to its original takeoff destination where it took off from. Now, this is the wind shear. Now, keep in mind, you might be thinking, whoa, I see all these yellows, we're saved. We got over almost 30 knots of shear. I mean, this thing's going to fall apart. No. Notice how the lines are moving on the wind shear. They're moving out. This is the storm's outflow channels. The winds are moving out of the storm. Now, if you saw the lines going through the storm like this, then that would mean wind shear. But no, the winds are going out from the storm, and that's how good the outflow channels are with this thing. I mean, it's like kind of making its own wind shear. It's not really weakening, and it's having a little protection barrier protecting it from the wind shear, which I think it's going to get lucky and move through an area that doesn't have quite as much shear. I mean, maybe a little bit at this point, but again, look at the arrows. The arrows are moving around the storm and out from the storm. That indicates that it's making its own shear, and it really is not weakening at all. So here's the sea surface temperature anomalies here. From where the storm is right now, it's a little bit below average, but keep in mind this area is still well above 80 degrees, and especially near 90 as you get closer to Florida. 30 degrees Celsius here, almost 90. But again, 28, 29, that's pretty healthy. Again, as we head towards the warmest part of the day, it's probably going to get warmer than that. But these are the sea surface temperatures that we do have right now. That's weird. It says 0Z August 28th. Maybe I'm not reading it right. But yes, this is the latest SST graph. It's just they analyze it at much different times. So, all right, now let's move to this map. Okay, I'm going to zoom out real quick so you guys can see it, because I know you probably cannot see it. Whoops. All right. So here it is, Hurricane Dorian. I'll zoom in a little bit. Winds 75 miles an hour, Pressure of 997 millibars, moving northwest at 13. That is a saving grace with this thing. That is that it's moving at a pretty good clip. So, you know, we don't have to worry about all the rain effects that much. But you can see how it moved. It went right through Martinique, but it kind of went in a zigzaggy motion. And it didn't really go in a straight line. And that kind of helps for it to stay above or on the water a little bit longer, helping it strengthen a little more. Think about it. If you got a tropical system that goes like this, up to about here, versus a tropical system on that same track, except it goes something like here. The track on the right is spending more time over water, so it's going to strengthen more, as long as the conditions are favorable. And there's your little low pressure system right there, just east of Puerto Rico at this time, as of the 2 p.m. update. Tropical intensity index, highly favorable in here. I would ignore the green. I think conditions will get better as the storm approaches, and in highly favorable conditions near Florida. Before I show you the dry air, I'm going to show you the radar of Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands. And I showed on the satellite, you didn't really quite see an eye, but this one you could see it a lot better. It's definitely a well more defined eye on the radar. It's more high definition here. And look at that eye wall, just these oranges. And you think yellows and oranges in the radar over the US, and you're like, yeah, I mean, that's your typical thunderstorm, not that bad. But when you got all this moisture, yellows and oranges mean a lot more on a hurricane than they do on just any regular thunderstorm. And here's a little thunderstorm complex associated with Dorian I put out of Puerto Rico, moving in a fashion like this. And you can see just how well organized this thing is getting. I wouldn't be surprised in the 5 p.m. update, which is coming in 15 minutes. I mean, I wish I could stay for another 15 minutes, but I don't want this video to be dragged out. But again, I will put that in the comments section, so stay tuned for the comment section after this video is over. But you can see rain is still coming through St. John, St. Croix. So, and even some are getting in Puerto Rico, although Puerto Rico is getting a little bit spared. I mean, we see some bands maybe coming for you, but overall, I think it wasn't as bad as you originally probably thought. So, 1 hour precipitation. This little band here, I pushed through Puerto Rico near Ponce, just west of town, producing about 1.5 to 1.7 inches of rain per hour. Now, whether it lasts an hour, let's say you got a rainfall rate of 1.7 inches per hour, right? If it lasts a half hour, you cut that number in half. So it'd be what, like 0.85? Yeah, 0.85 inches in 30 minutes. Or if it lasts 2 hours with a 1.7 inch per hour rate, it would be 3.4 inches. And you can see right on the eye wall there, getting about over an inch an hour near the eye wall. But this band is actually producing more heavy rain per hour. And we still got some bands moving through St. Thomas that are producing over an inch of rain per hour. And again, you got some bands of an inch plus per hour heading for St. Croix. So again, you guys are under the gun. And storm total, this is how much we've seen so far. And I'm going to reboot this a little bit so you can see the latest here. And storm totals here have been really excessive. Near St. Thomas, we've had nearly 6 inches of rain already, about 4 or 5 inches of rain. Eastern St. Croix, we've had about 2-3 inches, but most of central western St. Croix there have been about, central western St. Croix, about an inch of rain so far, maybe close to 2 inches of rain. Alright, so here it is, Hurricane Dorian. Again, it's over St. Thomas right now, northwest of 13, the movement, 75 mile an hour sustained winds, 997 millibars of pressure here. And let's keep looking at this. Rain. Again, potential for major flooding rain from Ponce, San Juan, Guyana here, British and American Virgin Islands there. And for wind. So anywhere in this yellow color, this is where you're going to get the tropical storm force winds. All in this yellow, including Ponce and Arecibo, something like that. The orange, you're going to get winds of, so it's like a strong tropical storm for the Guyana here. And St. Juan, Pointe East, Fajardo there, the British and American Virgin Islands. That's the potential for hurricane force winds. And look at this, potential storm surge over a foot above the ground. Although, because the storm surge isn't higher because it really never made landfall. But we can see some definitely water rises of a few feet. I would not be surprised at the least. Again, look at this. No dry air in this thing's way to stop it. No dry air at all. Okay, we've got a lot of cyclonic heat. And so, I just want all you guys to be prepared. Please be prepared. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys are watching from the southeastern United States, from the Bahamas, from Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands. Please prepare. I'll continue to update on this next few days. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share and like. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time.